This program brought to you by Beijing Capital Land, leading the way in property development across China. And Fangtai, the stunning and peaceful gateway to Beijing.
It will be run and won in less than 2 hours. 2 hours of speed, strain, and sweat. Who will be the fastest of all? The answer lies in an ancient city. In a beautiful place renowned for its flower growing, the seeds were sown last year for an event that aimed to capture the triathlon world's attention. 12 months later, we are back to find a city that is flourishing and a race that has grown in popularity so much that it's attracted competitors from 35 countries. Hello everyone, I'm Mark Fuel and welcome to the second Beijing International Triathlon. Once again, we are here in Fangtai, the beautiful gateway to Beijing, which will play host to some of the world's best triathletes. And joining me in commentary, former professional triathlete Brian Lavelle. Brian, it's great to have you back.
I'm very excited to be back in Beijing this year, and even more excited to watch this race. Over half of the field are Olympians.
And in the men's field, the return of Matt Reed, second last year, looking to go one better.
I think it's going to be challenging for Matt this year. Javier Gomez of Spain is here. He's a 3-time world champion, and in my opinion, the best triathlete in the world, as well as Greg Bennett. The salty vet at 41 years of age is here and one of the best cyclists over 40K.
And in the women's field, the return, the defending champion, Sarah Groff, is looking very good.
She's looking good and she has some challenges as well. Lisa Norden of Sweden, who's a silver medalist from the London Olympics, is here. And Laura Bennett, wife of Greg and a 2-time Olympian from the United States, is also here.
Well, one thing's for sure, it's going to be an exciting race on a spectacular course.
In my opinion, this is one of the most challenging and beautiful courses on the triathlon circuit today.
This is a sport of 3 different disciplines, and it starts with the 1500-metre swim, then the long 800-metre run all the way up to their bikes, where they will transition for the longest part of the race. This will be the 40-kilometre cycle leg, and in Beijing, it's been designed to test the speed, technical abilities, and pain tolerance of each competitor. Brian, what's the key to a strong ride?
Well, the first 20K of this ride is going to be flat and fast, but the real challenge is going to come at the halfway point on the climb up into the mountains. This is where I expect some moves to be made. There's also a very, very technical descent coming back down the mountain, which could shake up the race.
The triathletes have to show their complete cycling abilities on this course. Once they hit the bottom of the mountain, it's fast and it's flat, and they're going past a mixture of ancient civilization and modern amenities in this incredible area of Fangtai. As they approach transition, they will look to get their legs ready for the next challenge, which is a fast and very hard 10-kilometre run. And Brian, what a run it is.
And like the bike course, the run course is also very challenging. With undulating terrain, both off-road and on-road, it'll really test the athlete's skills.
It's a looped run course, and we can expect a longer, harder run than the normal 10 kilometres, partly because this is a non-drafting format on the bike, so the athlete's legs will be tired, they'll be feeling very heavy, and they have to deal with hills, they have to deal with dirt, they have to deal with stairs right towards the finish. It's tough, it's going to be hard, and the victor takes home $20,000. Some of the stars were here last year, for others it's brand new. Either way, all are very excited.
Winning here last year was such a blast. I mean, it's such a fun course, good competition. It's going to be even steeper competition this year, so it's going to be a fun time out there.
Well, it's definitely a great place to race. I've been racing here for many times already, and not in a non-drafting race, so it's something different, in a different place than the other races I did. But yeah, I'm very excited about it.
I love racing here. I love the culture. I love the people. It's always nice to go somewhere that's completely different from home. So I'm really glad to be back.
It's a great world-class field. Some of the athletes coming from longer course triathlon, some of the short course athletes as well. All world-class athletes. It's going to be a great race.
It's an incredible field.
Headlining the men's race today, Javier Gomez of Spain, 3-time world champion and silver medalist in London, as well as Greg Bennett, the veteran of 25 years in the sport.
And there's big expectations on young Mario Mola, who was third at the World Championships in 2013. An incredible field also in the women. Sarah Groff, the defending champion. Lisa Norden, though, is the woman that everybody fears, second at the Olympic Games last year. And the return of Ricarda Lisk and our local representative, Jung Yi. The Beijing International Triathlon has a spectacular course and also presents rare qualifying spots in the Alcatraz Triathlon in San Francisco. Over 500 age groupers, more than double last year, from 35 countries have come to test themselves. The elites may look relaxed, but a fierce competitive fire burns beneath their smiles. Brian, different routines getting ready for the race.
Everybody likes to get warmed up before the swim. Lots of stretching, warming up the muscles. They'll also want to get in the water a little bit to get the cold water on their skin to make them feel relaxed and comfortable, because once they dive in, it is all out.
Well, the crowd is ready. The racers are getting ready. Our spectators are preparing themselves for what is going to be more than 2 hours of hard racing. And it's a stunning course on a picture-perfect morning.
中国北京国际铁人三项赛开赛
And after months of training, now is the moment. The elite men, and they're off.
In the start of every elite swim in our sport, it's all out, chaotic, feet flying, faces getting kicked. It's a tough time, but you want to scramble for the feet in front of you, where you can gain 30% energy savings by drafting the feet of the athlete in front of you. And this is the time not to panic, but to stay in control.
Javier Gomez being aggressive and getting an early lead, the smooth stroke out in front. Let's learn about the athlete's tactics.
There's a field of 7 guys, and you know, pretty much all of us are really good swimmers, especially Javier. He'll be leading it, and then Fraser Cartmel, Brian Fleischman will be there as well.
I think I'm kind of a better swimmer than them, so I'll try to get some seconds out of the water and make a fast transition so I could take it a bit easier the first case on the bike.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
8 of the best female triathletes in the world off and racing this year, 1 minute behind the men.
And this makes it for a much more fair race, so that some of the women aren't being pulled along by some of the slower male swimmers.
Great conditions here this morning, pristine waters, no wind at all, and while the scenery may be spectacular, these women will not be distracted from their strategies.
I think it's going to be a fast swim. You've got Sarah Groff and Carolina and Laura, so I think they're going to take it out pretty hard. Probably just try and minimize the damage as much as possible.
With the swim, I think, you know, they obviously go out pretty strong. It's, you know, my swim and my run, I'm pretty confident in. It really comes down to the bike, so I'm trying to minimize the amount of potential damage that, you know, somebody like Lisa or Laura could do.
My plan is to limit the damage in the swim, hopefully get ahead of the game on the bike, and then hold on for dear life on the run.
Well, Brian, they all mentioned damage control, but they've split into 2 groups. Whose race is going according to plan?
Well, we'll have to find out who's in these 2 groups, but this can really shape a race. There's never an explanation why it splits. It can sometimes just happen, but this can greatly affect the outcome of the race depending on which swimmers make it.
And back to the men's race, and that is Javier Gomez, who is out in the front trying to get on his feet. Brian Fleischman.
And Javier Gomez is the best in the sport at every discipline, including swimming. And if you look at his stroke, so efficient, and you'll notice every once in a while he looks up. That's sighting, to make sure you know where the buoys are so you're not weaving back and forth. It keeps the swim efficient, and it looks like Greg Bennett is coming up on Matt Reed's shoulder here, probably determining if he wants to take the lead, but I assume he'll fall back into the draft.
And looking back now at the women, they're wearing the red caps, and out in front, it looks like there's been a change. Routier of Spain is leading and coming around past Laura Bennett. That was Sarah Groff, our defending champion.
Sarah Groff is a very strong swimmer, but I've been talking to the athletes this week, and Routier is one of the best swimmers on the ITU circuit.
Well, panning out here almost midway through the race, and Laura Bennett now has slipped back. She is in the middle of the field, and the women are spread out more than 200 metres from first into 8th spot.
And that's a great look at the drafting I was talking about in the swim, that perfect V formation. And you have to be inside that V to gain maximum advantage.
Javier Gomez out in front. The Spaniard appears to have put on a surge, and that has left Fleischmann there by himself off his feet. Further back, around about 20 metres, we see a pack of 3, and that is Reed, O'Grady of New Zealand, and Bennett.
And Fleischmann's in what we call no man's land. That is not the place you want to be. He really needs to put a surge in here to try to get back on Javier's feet.
Well, you can see the swimmer from Florida. He was first out of the water last year, but he has a challenge now back to the women. That is Routier of Spain, who is in front, and Sarah Groff now coming up onto her feet.
Yeah, it looks like Sarah Groff got back on her feet. Smart move. She did not want the Spaniard to get away this early.
Well, it's Spain 1-1 in both the men's and the women's race. They're approaching the last turn can, and then it's about 300 metres into the finish. Javier Gomez is on the home straight.
And again, look at the sighting. They're always looking up. Every few strokes, they got to look up. And sometimes with the sun coming up in an early morning race, they might be blinded. So sighting is very key in these open water swims.
There you can see Gomez's lead back to Fleischmann, and it appeared as if Bennett had been dropped off that back. He had, and he has slipped back to Mario Mola.
And that's not what Greg wanted. He knows he's not a good swimmer as Javier.
Back to the women, and the youngest competitor in this race, Routier, is leading, but what a great swim by Sarah Groff. She is desperate to defend her title here this year.
And back to Javier, used to leading out front. He's always been a front runner, a place he's comfortable with his entire career.
Well, he'll be able to take his time getting up the sometimes slippery exit, and then it's a long run up into transition, and they have to change their breathing, and they're using different muscles.
Different muscles, and it looks like Javier took a quick look back to see what's going on behind him. It's always nice to know when you're in the lead what's behind you, because he's not getting swim splits. Only the people behind him are about who's in front.
Fleischmann, first out last year. This year he will have to settle for second, but it's been a strong performance in the water.
Second place to Javier is nothing to be ashamed of. Great swim for Brian Fleischmann.
And closing the gap behind him, this is going to be Matt Reed, and Graham O'Grady of New Zealand is right on his heels. A little stumble there by Reed. O'Grady also coming out. They'll look to get their shoes on and then run up. It is, once again, 800 metres, mostly uphill.
A long run to transition here. This is a unique format. Not too many races in the world have such a long transition over cobblestones, concrete, stairs. Very unique to the sport.
And here are the women, and it is going to be the young Spaniard who led from start to finish. She is going to exit the water, but Groff is right on her heels.
Groff, very smart swim. She knew she was going to sit behind Routier, save some energy. This was her best leg. She did great. Great strategy for Groff right now.
Well, her plan was to have a lead out of the water, and she has certainly got that. Laura Bennett had to swim by herself virtually the whole race.
A little off for Laura today. Laura's a much better swimmer than this. She should have been on their feet. Maybe she's a little tired.
And bringing up the back, that is Lorne and Jungi. So let's take a look at the splits, and Javier Gomez, as expected, 20 seconds ahead of Fleischmann and a long way back to Matty Reed and Greg Bennett, 19:13.
And in the women, as expected, Routier, 19:13. And look at Lisa Norden, 20:59. Lisa has a lot of work ahead of her on the bike.
And this is the transition, and this is our leader, Gomez, huffing and puffing his way up to transition. There's stairs, and it finishes off with a steep run. Great Early transition here for Brian Fleischmann. There is O'Grady, and behind him the tall figure, 6'5", Matt Reed, an Olympic representative of the United States. He knows this course well. He's biding his time.
And if you didn't know any better, you would think we're on the 10K run. These guys are absolutely flying out there.
Well, this is Moeller, one of the fastest runners of sport. Greg Bennett, he lost so much time over the second half of that swim.
And never count Greg out, one of the best strategy triathletes in the sport.
Okay, the women sprinting up into the transition. Routier still is in front, and here goes Sarah Groff, and this is where we'll get a sense of exactly how she's feeling. She's certainly aware of her surroundings.
And Sarah talked about damage control here, and it looks like she's getting onto the next leg, the bike, so she did well in the swim. Let's see what pans out.
Gomez at the top of the hill, the man with no weaknesses.
And you'll notice on Gomez's left shoulder, those rainbow stripes, that's a sign of the world champion. Must be intimidating to his other competitors.
Well, he's won it 3 times as well. He came in as the favoured athlete. He is out onto the bike course, but he may well be running scared from some of those behind. Fleischmann having a good transition. The long legs of Matt Reed propelled him past O'Grady on that run, but they're going to go out together.
And like the swim start, the transition can be a very chaotic scene. And unique to this race as well is a downhill exit from the transition area. Not many races have this. You got to be heads up on this. You'll notice their feet are still on top of their shoes as well. They'll wait till they get rolling. Wow, what a great shot there. Look at this. You can see what it's like going at 45K an hour trying to get into your shoes. Incredible.
You need to have focus and at the same time incredible handling abilities of your bike. His shoes are now in and he is accelerating down the road and away from his competitors. Puts his sunglasses on.
Yep, he looks like he waited to put his sunglasses on until he got rolling. Fleischmann here had his sunglasses on. They're flying right now.
And you can see the focus on Fleischmann's face. Now, that is Greg Bennett. More than a minute down, he has some work to do.
Let's see what the 41-year-old can do. This is his best leg, the best 40K cyclist in the sport.
O'Grady and Reed in a seesaw battle early in the race. Greg Bennett now, 40 kilometres of pure cycling pain ahead of him at the 2013 Beijing International Triathlon. Ever since their arrival in Feng Tai, the elite athletes have been treated and also received